Example number 1. Let f of x equal 3x squared minus 2, and let g of x equal 5x plus 1. Find the given value. F of g of negative 1. So we always start with the innermost function. So this says we need to do g of negative 1. So that would be 5 times negative 1 plus 1 would be negative 5 plus 1, which is negative 4. And now we need to do f of negative 4 because it tells us to put g of negative 1 into f. So f of negative 4 would be 3 times negative 4 squared minus 2. And always, always, always put parentheses around a negative value when you're inputting it into a function. So that'll remind us that needs to be a positive 16. So 3 times 16 minus 2, 48 minus 2 is 46. So our answer for f of g of negative 1 is 46. Example number 2. Find g of f of negative 7. Starting on the inside, we need to find f of negative 7 first. So that's going to be negative 7 in parentheses squared plus 4. So that's going to be 49 plus 4, and that is 53. And now we need to do g of 53. So that's going to be negative 5 times 53, subtract 1. Negative 5 times 53 is negative 265. Subtract 1 is negative 266. So g of f of negative 7 is negative 266. So the key to this is to always start with the innermost function, take what you get, and put it in the outermost function. Example number 3. F of x is 4x squared minus 2x, and g of x is 5x plus 2. Find f of g of k. So they want us to put k into g, so we're going to do g of k. That means for every x, we're going to put a k. So that ends up 5k plus 2. And now we need to put 5k plus 2 into f. So f of 5k plus 2 is going to be 4 times 5k plus 2 squared minus 2 times 5k plus 2. So we're going to have to use the FOIL rule. 5k plus 2 times 5k plus 2 is 25k squared plus 10k plus 10k plus 4 is 25k squared plus 20k plus 4. So this is 4 times 25k squared plus 20k plus 4. And from that, I need to subtract minus 10k minus 4. Be careful with this negative times a positive. It's going to be a negative there. So the last thing I need to do here is distribute my 4. So that would be 100k squares plus 80k plus 16 minus 10k minus 4. And combining like terms, I will get 100k squared plus 70k, and 16 minus 4 is 12. So my final answer is 100k squared plus 70k plus 12. Example number 4. Find f of g of x and g of f of x for f of x equals x over 10 plus 3 and g of x equals 6x minus 1. So the first one I'm going to do is f of g of x, which is 6x minus 1. So this is g of x. I'm going to put that into f every time I have an x. 6x minus 1 over 10 plus 3. Now, this can be simplified by getting common denominators. The 10 belongs to both terms. 6x is not going to be like minus 1 and 3, but I'm going to multiply this 3 top and bottom by 10, so I get minus 1/10 plus 30/10, and now they have a common denominator, so it's 6x over 10 plus 29 over 10, and that's an acceptable answer, or you can now bring it back to 6x plus 29 over 10. So either of these answers is fine for f of g of x. Now to do g of f of x, that means I'm going to do g of x over 10 plus 3. So that means every time I have an x, I'm going to put x over 10 plus 3, and don't forget the minus 1. Now this 6 can be distributed, so remember there's a 1 under there. 6x over 10 plus 18 minus 1 is, we're going to reduce that 6/10, divide both by 2, so 3x over 5 plus 17. Now to combine this into one expression, I need a common denominator of 5. So I'll multiply the top by 5 and the bottom by 5. And that's going to give me 17 times 5, 85 over 5. So that's 3x plus 85 over 5. And so that's the best format for this answer, although this with getting common denominators is also acceptable. Example number 5. Find f of g of x and g of f of x for f of x equals 6x squared minus 5 and g of x equals 2 over x. So to find f of g of x, that means I need to find f of 2 over x. That means for every x, I'll put in parentheses 2 over x. And so that's going to give me 6 times 2 over x squared minus 5. So now I'm going to simplify. 6 times 4 over x squared, subtract 5, is going to be 24 over x squared, subtract 5. I'm going to get a common denominator by multiplying the top and bottom of the second fraction by x squared over x squared. So that's going to be 24 over x squared minus 5x squared over x squared. And now, since that's a common denominator, 24 minus 5x squared all over x squared. Now to do g of f of x, that means inside of g, I'm going to put 6x squared minus 5. So instead of that x, I'll put 2 over 6x squared minus 5. And there's really nothing I can do to this fraction, so I'll leave it. G of f of x equals 2 over 6x squared minus 5. Example number 6. Find f of g of x and g of f of x if f of x is the square root of x plus 4 and g of x is 8x squared minus 16. So they ask us to find f of g of x and g of f of x. For f of g of x, I have to put g, 8x squared minus 16, into f. Every time I see an x, it's going to be the square root 8x squared minus 16 plus 4 is the square root of 8x squared minus 12. For g of f of x, inside of g, I need to put the square root of x plus 4. So 8 times the square root of x plus 4 squared minus 16. Anytime you square a square root, it just removes the square root. Okay, because it becomes square root of x plus 4 squared is the square root of x plus 4 times the square root of x plus 4, which is the square root of x plus 4 squared. So what do you square to get x plus 4 squared? You square x plus 4. So, simple rule, when you square a square root, you're going to get what's inside. Simplifying, 8x plus 32 minus 16 gives me 8x plus 16. And that is my g of f of x.